All right, hello everybody. This is going to be a short stream tonight. We only got an hour and a half time because I have to run down to Florida and pick up Milam before the hurricane gets there. So I figure for those of you who are here, some of you probably know about that. But yeah, that's what's happening tonight. I got a 10-hour drive. It's going to be a thing. But
Look,
yeah,
Milam might be able to take on a few dragons, but a hurricane, that's a different story.
especially the more information that comes out about this specific hurricane. Holy cow.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, lady may be over here hanging out with me in a bit. So yeah. Also, guys, let Yui know. Let Yui know what's going on when she's getting ready for her stream or whatnot. Just let her know. I'm going to pick up her other half and make sure she doesn't die in Florida. That's all. No, the thing that as messed up as all that sounds, no, the thing that I'm not looking forward to is trying to make it out of Orlando as soon as I picked her up. That's the part I'm not looking forward to. The one thing I wanted to avoid at all costs. But yeah. All right. So, let's get started. We are Mushoku Tensei, Volume 3.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Moonlight Sparks. I am the voice of Jinwoo Sung. For our rich parody, anyways.
Yeah. I'm Shem Shem. I'm a voice actor for Slimer Bridge and Solo Leveling. I'm Mr. Kim and what was it? A couple other people, but yeah, so
Fenris.
I'm Fenris Arun, audio engineer. I played Mr. Song in Solo Leveling Abridged.
I'm Richie Roberts. I'm the asshole responsible for Slime Abridged, half of Solo Leveling because I co-wrote it, so I'll take half the responsibility. Logged Horizon Abridged, I wrote that, and a smattering of some other stuff. The upcoming Spider and the upcoming Konosuba one shot. And I write and direct a bunch of different projects for Fat Dog, and I voice a smattering of characters. If you've heard a male character die in any show, it was probably me. And if you heard goblin noises in Log Horizon or the one shot we did for Goblin Slayer, all those goblin noises were me. So I die really good on mic. And apparently, oh yeah, the Goblin Slayer Bridged one shot, I wrote and directed that because sure. And
nice.
yeah, I voice the menu because of course I do. All right. That being said, Shim, you're going to be taking over reading duties today.
Yeah.
All
right then.
So open your holy books. Mushoku Tensei to Volume 3,
we
Chapter
are on
10.
Chapter 10. It looks
Yes.
like, yeah. All right. Chapter 10. The first job completed. Now then, time for a little interrogation. Who should I try first, the man or the woman? The bug-eyed lady was clearly terrified at this point. She was making muffled sounds and trying to desperately squirm away from us. It was kind of titillating, to be honest, but let's put that aside for now. If I took off her gag now, I had the feeling she'd start babbling a bunch of frantic nonsense. Seemed smarter to wait until she'd calmed down a little. As for the lizard man, I couldn't really tell if his expression had changed much, what with the reptilian face and all. It did look, or kind of look like he may have gone quite a bit pale, may have gone a little pale. But it also seemed like he was watchfully observing his surroundings. His eyes flitted from Eris's face to Regard's, then to mine. I had the feeling his mind was completely focused on the question of how he could get out of this alive. It really was a shame Regard had killed their buddy. A short-tempered, tough guy like that would have been the easiest nut to crack by far. At this point, maybe we should just take off both their gags at once. We could take one of them into a different room, interrogate them separately, then compare their answers afterward. Yeah, let's give that a shot. Eris, stay here and keep watch on the women for us, okay? Got it, Eris answered with an energetic nod. I pulled the lizard man to his feet and promptly marched him out of the room. Once we were far enough down the corridor that our voices wouldn't carry back to his friend, I stopped and removed his gag, making sure not to give him any chance to bite me. I've got some questions I'd like you to answer. Sure, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. Just don't kill me. Fair enough. As long as you talk, I'll let you go. Eek. I'd smiled brightly at an attempt to reassure him, but for some reason the lizard man flinched back in fear. Maybe he wasn't quite as cool-headed as I'd originally thought. Why do you have so many animals caged up in this building? We picked them up off the street. That's really impressive. And where did you find them all exactly? Well, I mean, the man's eyes darted between Reacher's face and mine. Was he really was he really planning to continue lying at this point? Just around town. Oh, okay, that barely even qualified as a lie. The guy had a clever looking face, so maybe he wasn't that bright after all. Wow, no kidding. There must be animals lying around for the taking all over the place, huh? I paused for a moment, then fixed him with my fiercest glare. Look, buddy, do you think I'm stupid just because I'm a kid? No, not at all. Yeah, that didn't really work. With this body, any attempt at intimidation seemed to come out kind of ridiculous. I was only 10 years old after all. Ah, well, guess I'll have to, excuse me, guess I'll have to scare him a bit. Explosion. With a sharp snap of my fingers, I set up a small fiery blast right in front of the man's face. Ouch! It singed the tip of his nose nicely. What the heck are you doing, man? Naturally, I chose to ignore his question. Do us both a favor and think a little harder about your answers. You don't want to die, right? The lizard man shuddered, presumably remembering. Yeah. It's also really hard to yell in character
It
without
is.
defaulting to like
Yes
more
and no.
normal
With
yelling.
your own voice, and yeah.
Yeah.
Because honestly, with the Jin Woo Sung character, especially that version, it's mostly
Oh,
just
they're able to
his
hear us now.
voice.
Yeah, yeah.
They can. Okay.
Lovely.
Oh. Oh. I don't know where it cut off though.
So they
Not
cut
quite.
they cut out 5 minutes of audio about 10 minutes ago. So
I can go back.
It happens.
I can try and go back to. Oh, the
Oh shit.
person.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
the explosion in the
Okay,
the
yeah, yeah.
face
Let me get
area.
the
I
book
see.
pulled up,
Gotcha.
too.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's a bit. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
okay.
that's
I'll continue
fair,
from the
okay.
explosion. I'll continue from that.
Just make sure you say
Wait,
like
there's someone
Megumin.
blew up?
Yeah.
Oh god,
Yeah,
are we Kosuba?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Kinda. Yeah, that didn't really work. With his body, any attempt at intimidation seemed to come out kind of ridiculous. I was only 10 years old after all. Ah, well, guess I'll have to scare him a bit. Explosion. Or explosion. With a sharp snap of my fingers, I set off a small fiery blast right in front of the man's face. Yeah! Ouch! It singed the tip of his nose nicely. What the heck are you doing, man? Naturally, I chose to ignore this question. Do us both a favor and think a little harder about your answers. You don't want to die, right? The lizard man shuddered, presumably remembering the moment Regin murdered his partner. At this point, it fully occurred to me that our whole conversation back there had been in the demon god tongue. I had blathered on about Regin and the spirit in a language these people could obviously speak. Ah, well, they know. Might as well try and use that to our advantage. This is no joke. My friend here is dyeing his hair blue, but he really is the one and only dead end. And I'm not as young as I look either. Seriously? We're the same type of people as you guys, all right? Just be honest with us, and maybe we can even help you out. Maybe not, but let's see what happens. But, the lizard man glanced over at Reger only to look away immediately. He'd probably gotten a nasty glare. Come on, just spit it out already. What were you doing here? We were catching people's pets. You don't say. Why was that? We'd wait until their owners filed a request, then bring the pets back and act like we just found them. I see. It was probably the truth. I didn't have any proof of that, but it just made sense and it seemed consistent with everything we'd seen. The request that brought us here was filed by a young, innocent girl, but you'd probably get the occasional wealthy lady just desperate to find her little poopsie Christine. Although guild tasks seem to pay out within a set range depending on their difficulty, maybe clients like that sometimes offered special bonuses on the side. With a bit of luck, you might be able to make a good living finding pets all day. What would you do what do you do if the owner never files a request though? After a while, we just let things go. Why not sell them to a pet shop for extra profit? Ha! That'd be a great way to get ourselves caught, kid. The instant the lizard man snorted derisively at me, Regis struck the floor with the butt end of his spear. Our captive flinched at the sound. Beautiful, man. Seriously beautiful. Just when the guy starts to feel a little cocky, you remind him exactly what he stands here, or where he stands here. You're a born interrogator. Sounds like you had all this racket worked out, huh? Yeah, pretty much. Personally, though, I still would have turned the extra animals into money. You could always chop them up and sell the meat to a butcher, right? No real risk of getting caught that way. I mean, people seem to enjoy eating monster flesh around here. They'd probably be just fine buying mystery meat for some miscellaneous animals. Oh, now the lizard man's looking at me like I'm some kind of serial killer. Come on, people eat gray tortoises around here, don't they? How's a pet turtle any different? I turned it back to glance at Rager, hoping for confirmation that he wasn't crazy. Rudius, he said solemnly, do you intend to dispose of these people in the same way? What an alarming question. At least our captive's reaction made sense now. He'd probably been wondering something similar himself. Now there's an idea. The lizard man's face twitched as I smiled ominously at him. Ah, now this expression I could recognize. It really brought me back. People used to look at me that way all the time in my first go around. Rudius. Richard, please, you don't have to glare holes in my back like that. I'm just kidding around, okay? I wouldn't actually do that. Well, we only came here to find out a specific cat. It's not like we're a roaming band of vigilantes or anything. We could always walk away and pretend we didn't see anything. Really? Only problem is you two know that Regard here is really a spurred. Now what are we going to do about that? I won't tell anyone. Hell, it's not like anyone would even believe me if I told them Dead End was wandering around the city. I don't think that's true. Ugly rumors always find a way to get around. It's best to assume that anyway, especially when it's a rumor you don't want spreading. From my perspective, the single easiest thing would be to kill you and bury your body somewhere, Or bury your body somewhere, Come on, man. Don't talk like that. I'll do whatever you want, okay? Or anything you want, okay? Just don't kill me. Those were the words I've been waiting to hear. Time to wrap up the intimidation phase. What am I going to do here, though? These people were pet nappers, which made them criminals, aka bad guys, but they were clearly small time crooks with no connection to the local underworld. Letting them off the hook wouldn't put us in any real danger. That said, they'd seen Reger kill a man, which meant that they may eventually disrupt our plan to make him into a local hero. I'd really prefer not to have that risk hanging over our heads. Murdering them in cold blood was off the table, I mean. I'd just given Reger a lecture on this very topic. Maybe I could hand them over to the city watcher or whatever. Nah, all they'd really done was just steal a bunch of pets, and that was hardly the gravest of crimes. The cops might let them off with a big fine or something, and they'd be back out in the streets, possibly nursing a grudge. No matter how submissive they were being right now, once my foot was off their throat, all bets were off. Ideally, I wanted to keep them somewhere I could keep an eye on them, and periodically threaten them again. At least until I knew they weren't going to cause us any problems. But that would carry certain risks as well. If we kept leaning on them, their resentment might fester into hatred. We'd already killed one of their friends, after all. For now, that was feeling their fear of us, but someday it might drive them to try and take revenge. We couldn't kill them, and we couldn't hand them over to the cops. How about taking them in then? That would keep them close at hand, and they could help us earn money and rise up the ranks. We'd make them gather information around town and run random errands for us. Hell, we could even take over their pet abduction racket. Of course, Regard probably wouldn't like this plan one bit. He'd already classified these people as villains, evil enough that they deserve to die. Somehow I doubted he'd want to work with them. Let's run down the risk and return of all our options. Number 1, murder them. Risk. Regard will get seriously confused. We might pick up a bad habit of killing our way out of trouble. Return. Prevents any potential future problems. We can take whatever cash they're carrying. Number 2, hand them over to the city watch. Risk. They might hold a grudge. Return. A good bit of PR, maybe? 3, leave them be. Risk. They might hold a grudge. Return. Nothing in particular. Number 4, take them in. Risk. Won't go over well with my buddy. People might think we're involved in some shady business. Return. Easy way to keep an eye on them. Provides us with some extra help. Number 1 was easy to eliminate. It felt like we'd be heading down the wrong road. I wasn't a soft-hearted sap or anything, but murdering people left and right would just be foolish. I had the feeling it'd come back to bite us in the end. Numbers 2 and 3 were low risk, low return plays. Even if our new friends did try to get revenge on us somehow, Reacher could track them down easily enough. But then we'd probably end up killing them anyway. That would be a lousy outcome and a waste of effort. Number 4 seemed like the winner then. It might ruin Reacher's impression of me, but putting everything else aside, we also had a pressing need for money at the moment. Yeah, that's right. Money has to be our top priority right now, doesn't it? And some extra help should make that much easier. Helping out with their pet abduction racket was an option, but we could also add them to our party, then split up to tackle multiple F rank jobs at once. That would move us up the ranks faster, and moving up the ranks was huge. Once we could take on rank C tasks, our lives would get so much easier. Wait a second. Come to think of it, if you guys were taking lost pet jobs, wouldn't that make you adventurers? Yeah, that's right. Oh, hey, us too. What a coincidence. What's your party rank? D. Not only were they adventurers, they were a couple rungs up the ladder from us. So you're doing E rank tasks even though you're rank D? Yeah. We could go up to C at this point, actually, but the lost pet stuff was steady money. Once you hit rank C, you weren't allowed to take on rank E rank tasks anymore. Maybe some people deliberately stayed put on D so they could keep working simpler and safer jobs, or so they could keep running a scam. In this specific case, if we were in their shoes, we jump up to C immediately and start grabbing B rank monster slaying missions. But maybe some adventurers preferred avoiding combat altogether. Maybe we could have these two take some C rank jobs, then help them out with the fighting part. Even if we split the money evenly between us, that should solve our cash flow crisis. I don't know, we'd never move up the ranks that way. Ah, all of a sudden a light bulb went off in my head. I just found the perfect solution. Hey, Could you two keep doing this job without the guy who died? Nah, we'll just quit this racket and go legit. Be honest, please. Yeah, we could. That guy saw the two of us catching a pet and blackmailed us into giving him a cut. Whoa, seriously? Guess we got lucky. It was a 1 in 3 chance, but Regard apparently killed the right guy. Maybe the man god was watching out for us or something. Okay then, why don't you team up with us? You want to join forces with them? Regard shouted from behind me. You can't be serious! Regard, can you be quiet for a minute, please? What? Don't worry. I know what I'm doing here. I turned back for a moment. Unsurprisingly, Regard was looking none too pleased. The idea sure felt like a good one, but maybe I needed to reconsider. It was just so perfect, though. We could earn money, increase our rank, and work on Regard's reputation, all at the same time. Yeah. Unless I was overlooking something, there was nothing but upsides all around. I turned back to the lizard man and looked him in the eyes. You said you'd do anything I'd want earlier, right? So, sure, I can give you money if you want. Just don't kill us. I don't need your money, but I do want you to rank up at that guild. What? Okay, let's explain this nice and slowly. Look, everyone in our party is a combat specialist, as you can probably tell. We can hunt down lost pets if we need to, but it'd be way more efficient for us to go out on monster slaying jobs. Y- yeah, I bet. Why are you on a lost pet job right now? It's a bit of a long story, but we only just became adventurers. Uh, oh, okay. It felt like we were starting to get a bit off topic here. Anyway, the point is, we want to take on combat jobs, but our rank's too low. You guys, on the other hand, aren't really capable of slaying monsters. You follow me so far? Yeah. Well, here's a nice, simple solution. We're going to start swapping jobs. The lizard man tilted his head to the side in puzzlement. What do you mean? You two are going to take on C- or B rank monster slaying missions at the guild. We're going to grab more lost pet type jobs so we can get our rank up. We'll handle your jobs for you, but you'll handle our jobs for us. But wait a second. What? The guild isn't going to let you turn in our job for us? Don't be stupid. The party that took the task will also be the one to report in once it's complete. I could see comprehension dawning in the lizard man's eyes. The concept was simple enough, really. Dead End takes E rank jobs, performs B rank jobs, reports in on E rank jobs, and receives the rewards. Their party takes B rank jobs, performs E rank jobs, reports in on B rank jobs, and receives the rewards afterwards. Of course, we'd meet up and swap the rewards we received. There might be some issues with the concept in terms of the guild's regulations, but I'd heard high ranking adventurers sometimes helped out low ranking newbies with their tasks. We'd just be doing the opposite, more or less. It probably wasn't against the letter of the law. We want money and a higher rank. You people want to make a nice, steady living. Seems like we can help each other out, right? We'll even give you a cut of the B rank rewards as your commission if you want. A commission? Huh? The lizard man swallowed audibly. B rank jobs paid out nicely. This was the carrot we dangle in front of them. We couldn't rely entirely on the stick, or they betray us eventually. Our arrangement had to be a sweet deal for everyone involved. However, there is one condition. What's that? You need to spread the word about Dead End all over town. What? I think everyone already knows the name. Sure seemed that way. Yeah, but we want them to think he's a nice guy. Tell everyone about our good deeds, even if you have to make stuff up. You can even call yourselves Dead End while you're dealing with random F rank jobs. Is there some point to all this? There certainly was, but if we gave this guy a long explanation of Reader's tragic past, was he even going to buy it? Nah, probably not. He just witnessed Reader kill a member of his party in cold blood. Didn't sound like the two of them had been too friendly, but his impression of the Spurred was probably set in stone at this point. There are some things you're better off not knowing, friend. Fine. Fine. Whatever. I ended up going with a half-assed non-answer, but the guy accepted it readily enough. Basically, you just want us to talk you up, right? Or basically, you just want us to talk you up, right? Exactly. Make sure you don't use our name in a way we wouldn't like, of course. Keep in mind, we've got a guy who could track you down to the ends of the earth. The lizard man glanced fearfully over at Regard and nodded several times. All right, then, I said. Looking forward to working with you, friend. At least until we get our rank up. Right. Sure. Let's meet up tomorrow morning at the guild. Don't be late. With a smile, I thumped the lizard man on the back. Just to be on the safe side, we questioned the woman as well to see if her story lined up with her friends. According to her, the two of them were lost pet specialists before they became criminals. It had been their livelihood for some time. One day, they had preemptively scooped up an animal that was clearly a lost pet. which got them thinking about how much easier their jobs would be if they could catch their targets before the requests were filled. Things escalated over time, and eventually they found themselves in the pet capturing business. At first, it had been a small scale operation, but then Man A caught them red handed in the middle of an abduction. He'd forced his way into the party as their bodyguard, started acting like the leader, and quickly ramped up their activities. Apart from taking a huge cut of the profits for himself, he'd also coerced the woman into sleeping with him as part of his fee. As a result, they
Eh.
weren't too. Huh? What's up?
I just said, "Ew."
Yeah, I know. I'm glad that guy's dead.
Yeah.
As a result, they weren't too upset with us for killing them, especially the woman. We really had gotten lucky. Incidentally, the Blizzard Man's name was Jalil, and the Bug Lady was named Visquel. After a quick group meeting with both of them, I finally removed their handcuffs. As we left the building with our client's cat, Regard glanced over at me and broke his silence. Rudius, what's the meaning of this? The meaning of what exactly? At this, he grabbed me by the lapels, lifting me a few inches off the ground. Don't play dumb! These people are villains! Do you really expect me to join forces with them? Okay, the man was genuinely furious. His face was scary to look at right now. I couldn't help remembering the fact that he casually killed a man only a little while ago. Well, granted, they're not great people, but they're only small-time crooks. They weren't doing anything that evil. A villain is a villain. The scale of their evil is irrelevant. I'd known this was coming, hadn't I? For some reason, my legs were still shaking, my voice was trembling, and there were small tears forming in the corner of my eyes. But look, this lets us kill 2 birds with 1 stone. What does that matter? Reacher really wasn't buying this, was he? This wasn't good. I was too afraid to think straight. The chattering of my teeth echoed loudly through my head. Villains will betray you in the end, Reacher shouted, his eyes narrowing. It was true. I'd taken that possibility into account, but this plan offered some juicy benefits from their perspective, and we just scared them pretty badly. It probably wasn't going to be a problem in the short term. What were you thinking? Why must we conspire with such people? Now that question gave me pause. The man had a point. It wasn't like we had to join forces with those two. We could always have taken things at a more leisurely pace, taking on tasks from the guild when we could, hunting monsters outside the city when we needed cash, and slowly moving up the ranks. That was a perfectly viable alternative, and it would involve relying on some shading people. It would be a bit of a detour, but that wasn't the end of the world. Maybe this was a bad idea. Should we call it off, turn around, and kill those two right now? Have ourselves a nice bloodbath? Was I even in the right here? I wasn't so sure anymore. Richard! At this point, my inner debate was interrupted by a fierce shout. Reacher's body swayed once, then twice. Get your hands off Rudius! Eris was kicking him in the backside repeatedly. What are you even complaining about anyway? Her voice was loud enough to make my ears ring. A few passersby looked over in our direction, wondering what all the fuss was about. I dislike the idea of joining forces with a pair of villains. Oh, boo-hoo! So what if you don't like it? He's doing this for your sake, stupid, and mine! Reacher's eyes went wide, and my feet thumped back down onto the ground. Eris promptly stopped kicking him, but she wasn't quite done with the shouting. In the first place, what's the big deal about them stealing a couple animals? You misunderstand me. The sort of people who would kick a child can't be. Oh, come on! I kick people all the time! Still, evildoers can't be trusted. You did some evil things in the past yourself, didn't you? Well, now she had him at a loss for words. Miss Eris, I'm very grateful that you're sticking up for me here, but maybe we shouldn't poke the guy too hard where it hurts. Rudius is really smart, okay? He's gonna make everything work out just fine. So just shut up and do what he says. Don't start whining every time you feel a little bit unhappy. But if you're going to complain about every little thing, then just go home now. Rudius and I can manage on our own. Regard faltered, taken aback by the raw emotion on Eris's face. Very well. I'm sorry, Rudius. He apologized to me after a moment. The man had been overwhelmed by Eris's vehemence, but that didn't mean he was actually convinced, of course. That's all right, Regard. The bar I needed to clear had just gotten much higher. After all that, I couldn't very well admit that I was feeling uncertain myself. Teaming up with those two may have been a careless move, but now that it had come to this, I had to stick to my guns, no matter how anxious I may feel. I thought it was a brilliant idea at first. I just had to trust myself on that one. Now that there were many people I had less faith in. Excuse me, let me get a little water. When we reunited her with her cat, Maisel was absolutely overjoyed. She came running over the moment she laid eyes on us, threw her arms around me, and burst into tears of joy. The girl obviously adored her pet. The cat was surprisingly tolerant of her affection, given that it was a panther. Thank you. Thank you. Here you go. After a little while, the our happy client handed Regard a small metallic card. There was something that looked like a job number on it, along with the word complete. What's this? I said. You don't know? The girl asked disbelievingly. Aren't you adventurers? Well, I guess I'll let you tell me if you insist. Humph. Would you mind explaining, miss? Okay, when you take this to the Adventurers Guild, they'll give you money for it. It's not complete to start with, though, but if you stick your finger on the blank part and go, task complete, that makes it all completey. A liberal translation. If you place your finger on the card and speak the words task complete, the card will indicate that the job is done. Was that a failsafe against the possibility of someone stealing the card? But what if I did the task complete part myself? Would that work? If so, you could just swipe the cards and turn them in for some easy cash. Nah, even if it worked, the guild would catch on in no time. They probably had some measures set up to prevent that sort of thing. It looks like this one already says complete, though. Normally, you'd wait until the job was actually done to do that whole step, right? Yeah, I just knew Regent was going to find me, so I did in advance. Oh my goodness, too cute. A child's trust is a beautiful thing. Squatting down, Regent patted the girl gently on the head. I see. You had faith in me, did you? Thank you, Maisel. Yeah, I didn't know there were any good devils, but now I do. For a moment, Regent's face seemed to freeze in place. I know how you feel, man, but that's just where your reputation stands right now. All right, miss. Or all right, miss. Or all right then, miss. Don't forget about Dead End and your friend Regent, okay? Yeah, come help me if she goes missing again. The girl's final cheerful words made my chest ache a little. By the time the three of us made it back to the Adventurers Guild, it was already twilight. If every job took us this long, we'd be bankrupt in no time. Hey, what the hell? They're back. Whoa, did you find that lost pet already, kiddo? That moment we stepped into the building, that same horse-faced guy started goading us again. Oh, he was easy enough to recognize since his horse head contrasted oddly with his minotaur-like body. Did you just hang around inside the guild all day or what? Oh, if it isn't the horse-headed man from this morning. You take a break from work today? It wasn't too fun dealing with this guy, honestly. He reminded me too much of someone who bullied me back in the day. They both made a big show of messing with you, basically inviting everyone else to join in. Oh, what? You're talking awfully polite all of a sudden, kid. Kinda creepy. Whoops, forgot to put on my other personality. Guess I'll just roll with it. You're a veteran adventurer, and you were nice enough to give us some advice. Why wouldn't I speak to you respectfully? Oh, sure. Guess you got a point. Horseface actually got a bit bashful at that. What a pushover. Thanks to you, you're pointing us in the right direction. Our first job went off without a hitch. Say what? I flapped our task card in front of Horseface. The man seemed genuinely impressed. Well, ain't that something? It's damn tough to track down a single pet in a city this big, you know. Yeah, I'm sure it would be ordinarily, all the more so when the pet in question was actually abducted. Hey, no big deal when you got Dead End Regard on your side. Damn, for a total fraud, that guy ain't half bad. Shove it, Horseface. He's the real deal. Slipping into character for a moment, I stalked off towards the reception counters. There, I handed over the task card and our 3 adventure cards to the clerk. After a while, she handed back our cards, along with a single rough, crude coin about the size of a 100 yen piece. When I made my way back over to the others, I found Horseface and Regard engaged in conversation. Hey, how'd you find that thing anyway? Just for reference. The same way I tracked down prey on the hunt. Ooh, the hunt, huh? What's the name of your people again? The Spurred. Ha! Sure. I know how it really is, man. That thing you're wearing is a dead giveaway. Horseface was staring down at Roxy's pendant, now dangling prominently around Regard's neck. I'm no Kapara, rank C. Regard, rank F. Yeah, I know what rank you are, man. Ah, well. If there's anything you need to know, feel free to ask. I ain't stingy when it comes to helping out the newbies. Sounded like a good-natured chat, all things considered. It was kind of nice to see our party's designated outcast talking to a stranger, but I was also pretty worried he might say too much or suddenly flip out and start attacking. Hopefully the topic of children wouldn't come up. Eris, seated at Regard's side, was concerned as well. I'd noticed people coming up to talk to her now and again, but since she couldn't speak the language, she never responded to them. Wow, that's a nice sword. Where'd you get it? Hey, come on. Don't just ignore me. One female warrior in particular seemed to be getting irritated at the silent treatment. Can I help you, miss? I stepped in between them to intervene, and she just grumbled, Ah, forget it, and walked right off. At this point, Nokapara turned his attention back to me. Hey there, kiddo. You managed to get your reward all right? Yep, 1 scrap iron coin. This is the first money we'd ever earned as a party. Man, they sure pay peanuts at first. Come on, that's no way to talk about our poor child's life savings. Still peanuts, kid. only in a monetary sense. That sweet little girl had saved up her allowance for the sake of her beloved kitty cat. When you held that fact in your mind, even a single crude coin like this didn't seem so insignificant, right? You obviously don't understand the real value of this reward, so why don't you get lost already, huh? Chew, chew. Man, talk about unfriendly. All right, then, you keep at it, kiddo. With a wave of his hand, Nokapara wandered off into a different part of the room. What the heck did that guy even do for a living, anyway? In any case, we managed to bring our first job as adventurers to a successful conclusion. Chapter 11, A Smooth Start.
Real quick, am I
yeah.
still doing the adventurers or voicing them?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Like I didn't
I
want
don't
to
know, just
interrupt
been
you while
kinda
you were reading.
yeah, that's okay. I don't know, I've just been kinda blazing through it. Also,
Sorry,
is
I
Just,
haven't really
just
been
let
paying.
Shem do his thing.
I have not
Oh,
really
okay.
been paying much attention to the stream because I've just been kind of getting ready to drive for 10 hours.
Yeah, that's fair. You're a call, Shem. If you want to like get a moment in between.
one sec, I'm just getting some water. Yeah, I'm good. I mean, I can keep going. Let me
I
see.
mean, there's 40 minutes left. Might as well just let him finish it out for the day.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
just do it. Chapter 11,
This
Smooth
one has
Start.
been a bit weird as well.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little bit, but it's fine. We're gonna cut it off right at the next 40-minute mark, so.
Yeah.
When we made our way back to the front door of the Adventurers Guild the next morning, a lizard man immediately approached me. Oh, hello there. I already took care of us ranking us up. For a moment, I had no idea who this guy was supposed to be, but then I noticed the bug-eyed lady next to him and realized they were the pet nappers from yesterday. Their names were Jalil and Visquel, I guess. In my defense, it was tough to tell one face from another around here. There were a ton of lizard people in the city, and it didn't help that these two were wearing leather armor instead of the civilian clothes they had on the day before. They seemed like totally different people when they dressed like commonplace adventurers instead of commonplace citizens. Good morning, Jalil. Thank you very much for dealing with that. What's with the polite tone? You're giving me the creeps. I'm just speaking respectfully. Is that a problem? No, no. When I glared at him, Jalil quickly averted his eyes. Nice to see you as well, Visquel. I'm looking forward to working with you. Right. Visquel was staring fearfully at Regard. To be fair, Regard was glaring daggers at the two of them as well. Or at the two of them. Ah, well. Well then, shall we head inside? Yeah, sure, Jalil said with a nervous little nod. The moment we stepped foot inside the guild itself, a certain horseman spotted us and sauntered over. Hey there! Hi. This guy was hanging around in here again? Seriously, how did he make any money? Oh, what's this? You're with P. Hunter today, huh? Hey there, Nokapar. Been a while. Apparently, Horseface and our new friend Lizard. Oh, hey there, Nokapara. Been a while. Apparently, Horseface and our new friend Lizard Man were acquaintances. Yeah, no long time no see, Jalil. I heard about you guys ranking up to C. Sure, that's a good idea. You won't be able to work those pet jobs anymore, you know. Pausing for a moment, Nokapara looked from Jalil to me and back again, then nodded with a horse-like neigh. Now I get it. No wonder you pulled off that lost pet things yesterday, kiddo. Must have convinced P. Hunter to help you out, right? P. Hunter was presumably the name of Jalil's party. Sounded about right. Yep, exactly, I said. We ran into them while we were looking for that pet yesterday, and they offered to show us the ropes. Oh, so timid little Jalil's found himself some apprentices now, and one of them's even got a bogus spurt. Horseface was all too happy to buy my low-effort lie. He totally misunderstood the situation in a rather convenient way for us. After chortling to himself for a while, he leaned over to look around Jalil. Hey, I don't see Rahman with you today. Where is he? Where is he at? Yeah, Rahman died. Ah, gotcha. That's too bad. Rahman was presumably the name of that man Regard killed. Nokapara didn't sound especially shaken up by the news. Maybe someone dying wasn't even that big a deal in this line of work. Was I the only one who'd taken it that seriously? Jalil and Bisquel seemed relatively indifferent about the whole thing as well. Well, since still, if you lost Roman, or Roman, why would you want to rank up now? That guy was the best fighter in your party, wasn't he? Well, Jalil shot me a nervous glance. Seeing this, Nokapara let out another knowing neigh. Ah, yeah, I see how it is. You don't have to answer that one. Of course, you'd want to look like a big shot in front of your new apprentices. It was almost impressive how he neatly wrapped up things for himself there. With a few friendly slaps on Jalil's back, Nokapara finally turned and headed back towards the tables. I could hear the lizard man let out a small sigh of relief. Seriously, though, what was that guy's deal? He was constantly harassing us. Did he have a crush on me or something? Nah, if anything, he seemed to spend more time looking at Regard. Maybe he was partial to rugged Scarface men? Somehow I doubted it. Okay then, why don't we take a look at the task board, everyone? As we strode further into the guild, a few people shot us peculiar looks. For now, we were better off pretending not to notice, since the three of us were apparently apprentices now. I made a point of asking Jalil and Bisquel some questions as they looked over the jobs in the D to B rank range. Is there a difference between harvesting and collection tasks, guys? Huh? Oh, sure. They call it harvesting when you're gathering plants. The collection ones are mostly for from monsters, I guess. Our new mentor's response was a bit on the vague side, but it seemed roughly accurate. Harvesting jobs mostly seemed to involve finding medicinal herbs and such, while collection was more of a catch-all for other types of fetch quests. Oh, right. Regard? What is it? I'm sorry, but I think we need to focus on earning money and building up our rank for a while. Why are you apologizing to me? Because we're putting that other matter on the back burner. I did tell Jalil and Biswell to spread the word about Dead End. Excuse me. I wasn't expecting much on that front, though. I briefly considered micromanaging them to make sure they were helping people with a smile, but fundamentally it seemed smarter to stay hands off. So long as we kept our distance from these two, we could cut them loose if it became necessary. Even if their criminal activities were exposed, and even if they tried to push the blame onto Dead End, they'd just get laughed off. After all, they were a much higher rank than we were, and everybody already knew Regard was a phony. That's all right, Rudius. I understand. Since Regard wasn't raising any objections, I proceeded to pick out a few jobs in consultation with Jalil. One moment. After exchanging a few words of greeting with the gate guards, the three of us headed out into town. In the vicinity of Rikarisu, it seemed that Pax coyotes, acid wolves, great tortoises, and great rock turtles were your best bets when it came to hunting monsters. Pax coyotes you mostly kill for their pelts, acid wolves for their fangs and tails, great tortoises were walking piles of meat, and you could find magic stones inside the great rock turtles. We decided to ignore the great tortoises this time around, mainly because their meat was absurdly heavy. Great rock turtles were top priority targets. The magic stones you got from them were small but valuable, which allowed for some very efficient hunts. The problem was, these were pretty rare monsters at this point, and you couldn't find any too close to places where people lived. I'd ended up taking a Pax Coyote pelt collection job back at the guild. All things considered, they seemed like our best bet, since they came in decent-sized groups that let you earn a nice profit from a single battle. Of course, that only made things somewhat more efficient, given that we had to track them down and skin them. So if we stumbled across any acid wolves out there, I was planning to hunt those as well. We hadn't taken in any jobs to gather materials from, but with collection quests, you could do the actual gathering part before you even accepted a job. Once you had enough raw materials, you could take on the task of and bringing them straight to the guild's purchasing counter. In any case, the Pax Coyotes were our main focus for now. You'd usually get about 10 per group at most. Given the time it'd take to track them down and skin them afterward, I'd initially assumed we wouldn't be able to kill that many in a single day. After we hunted down and skinned our first group, though, Regard began gathering their corpses in a pile. At first, I didn't understand what he was doing. Can you spread the scent around using wind magic, Rudius? Ah, now it makes sense. We were going to use the smell of their blood to draw their monsters to the spot. I proceeded to bill the air in various directions, advertising our pile of fresh meat to the entire surrounding area. Giant stone turtles can't be lured this way, but we should attract every Pax coyote in the vicinity at least. It went off just as Regard said it would. By the end of that day, we'd killed more than 100 Pax coyotes, enough that I wondered if we may even have eradicated them completely from this area. It had been a very hectic undertaking. Regard and Eris slaughtered wave after wave of monsters for hours on end, and I squatted behind them working feverishly to skin the damn things. It was grueling, repetitive labor. After pelt number 30 or so, my arms grew heavy and my shoulders started to ache, and the scent of blood became downright nauseating. Entertaining myself with fantasies of monsters that instantly transformed into gold once their HP hit zero, I managed to struggle on for some time, but I had to quit after roughly 70 pelts. At this point, I swapped places with Eris. Killing Pax coyotes with magic proved much less agonizing than skinning them. I picked the things off one by one for a while, slowly adjusting the power of my spells to avoid blowing them apart or doing too much damage to their pelts. This was definitely more kind of my work. It actually involved some conscious thought for one thing. But just as I was beginning to enjoy myself, Eris threw in the towel, having managed maybe 30 pelts. Evidently, she was even less cut out for manual labor than I was. I assumed Regard would take over the skinning by now, but by this point, we almost had too many pelts. The pile was getting unwieldy. We made the call to start carrying the things back to the city, a job that would require multiple trips. Wait, interjected Regard. Before that, we ought to burn the corpses. You want to burn them, not roast them or whatever? Pax coyote meat is truly foul. we're just going to set fire to them and bury them. When you left a big pile of corpses lying around, they'd serve as a food source for other monsters, encouraging them to multiply. Merely setting fire to them wasn't enough to dissuade monsters from eating them, and if we just buried them, they'd apparently come back as zombie coyotes. Accordingly, you had to burn the things and bury them afterward. A nice little plan instantly popped into my head. 1. Kill packs coyotes, take pelts. 2. Bury the bodies as is, producing tons of zombie coyotes. 3. Wait for a zombie coyote slaying job to be posted at the guild. 4. Profit. Unfortunately, Regis shot down the suggestion, seeing that deliberately allowing monsters to multiply was a major taboo in these parts. Wish they'd write down these little local rules somewhere, man. But we didn't do this stuff for the monsters we killed on our trip over here, did we? It's not necessary when you've only slain a few. Seemed like an awfully vague rule. Still, a festering pile of bodies this massive seemed like it might be problematic from a public health perspective, too. Since I couldn't find any real grounds for an objection, I proceeded to burn the bodies to a crisp. By the time we finished carrying our haul of pelts back to the city, the sun was setting. Our first hunt was finally over. It had been a very productive one. I was ready to go straight back to the inn and get some sleep. Was I really going to be out there skinning dozens of these things again tomorrow, though? I sort of felt like we'd earned a day off. We really cashed in big today, huh? Let's do even better tomorrow. Or, we really cashed in big today, huh? Let's do even better tomorrow. But in the face of Eris's enthusiasm, I couldn't really bring myself to disagree. A mere 3 days later, Dead End formally ascended to rank E. Nice work out there. With a few appreciative words, I handed Jalil a tenth of the cash we'd earned on the hunt that day. Thanks, man. 10% was what we'd agreed on, but it didn't seem like that much money. When I asked Jalil if they were really getting by on this, he explained that he wasn't just an adventurer by trade. He also operated a business in the city. What type of business? A pet store. Oh, wow. So first you sell them, then you steal them? Kinda scuzzy, man. Don't do anything too evil, okay? Yeah, I know. The pet shop business was apparently a legitimate one anyway. They caught stray animals around the city, put them through a bit of training, then sold them off as pets. Jalil was a member of the Rugonian race, a people renowned for their beast taming expertise. With the help of techniques passed down through their generations, he could supposedly domesticate anything from a stray mutt to a proud woman warrior of the beast folk. Goodness gracious, what a wicked tribe. It was a good thing Eris and Regard were here with me, or I may have ended up groveling at his feet and asking for tips. Leaving all that aside, this pet shop sounded like a profitable operation, with an upside for the city as a whole, since he was taking potentially dangerous animals off the streets. So, why did you even start abducting pets if you already had a legitimate line of work? At first, we were just taking in the ones that got lost, but I guess something got into us. Sure, it must have been pretty tempting once they got the idea in their heads, and once they gave in to that temptation, it was all downhill from there. Anyway, isn't it tough to run a shop while also working as adventurers? Nah, not really. We're stocked with enough pets to last us a while. Apparently, they only kept the shop open until the early afternoon, then switched over to working on guild tasks for the rest of the day. Well, I guess it's no skin off my nose either way, so long as you keep getting the jobs done. No worries on that front, Chief. We're adventurers in our own right, and we're making sure to spread the word about Dead End, too. If you say so. We made ourselves a bit of spending money at this point, so it seemed about time to buy new clothes and combat armor. First of all, we picked out some clothing from a street vendor. Eris didn't take long at all to decide. She just wanted something sturdy but lightweight and easy to run in. Criteria that led her to a less than stylish pair of pants. Seemed like a sensible choice, especially given our current circumstances, but I felt like it wouldn't hurt to have at least one feminine option as well. When I pointed Eris to a frilly pink one-piece dress I'd spotted in a corner of the shop, though, she grimaced in disgust. You seriously want me to wear something like this? Can't hurt to have at least one girly dress, right? Oh, yeah? Then how about you buy something manly, Rudius? She pushed a fur vest at me. It looked like something a mountain bandit might wear. So I put this thing on. Eris would wear a frilly dress. It didn't seem like a bad deal for a second, but then I pictured the two of us standing next to each other in our new outfits and immediately dropped the idea. Once we were done buying clothes, we proceeded to a local armor shop. Eris hadn't yet suffered any serious wounds in combat, and I could use healing magic to treat any minor injuries, so I'd been under the impression she didn't really need armor. But as Regier told me, your spells can't heal fatal wounds or restore a missing limb, and Eris is still unaccustomed to battle. Complacency and carelessness can cost young warriors their lives. It wasn't a good idea for her to go without defensive gear. The armor shop was a large and impressive establishment, although still somewhat cruder than the stores I'd seen back in Asura. The wares on display inside were universally more expensive than the stuff you could purchase from the city's street vendors. The stalls and carts were your best bet for cheaper items, and sometimes you discover a hidden gem among the piles of junk. but shops like this offered reliable quality and a superior selection. They also had a wide range of sizes, which was pretty helpful given that the two of us were children. Protecting your heart is really important, so I think we ought to buy the best one we can.
All right, I need
At
to
the
pause
moment,
you. I need to pause you
yeah,
real quick. Quick
yeah, no
update.
problem.
Just a
Mm,
quick update. Uh, we will be going for the full stream tonight.
okay,
Turns out there was a backup plan that came in, so she's gonna um, do that plan, and
okay,
there's no need for me to drive down
Okay.
there and pick her up right now.
okay. So she'll be fine.
That's
She
good.
says she'll
You'll be
be an
okay.
hour and a half away from where the hurricane could potentially be. So, yeah, that's that is the plan. She's packed up and heading off with them. I am saying that if she needs me to come get her still, I will, but for right now, that's fine. And yeah, so yeah, good
Uh,
stuff.
okay,
So we'll do the full stream, and that's
okay,
that.
all right. At the moment, we were picking out a breastplate for Eris. There were a wide variety of these for female warriors in particular, designed to fit people with varying bust sizes. This looks fine to me, said Eris, pulling out a beast hide model that fit her perfectly. What do you think, Rudius? Naturally, I wasn't going to pass up a legitimate opportunity to stare at a girl's chest. Looks like things are coming along nicely. You should probably go with that one or with one that's one size larger. Why? Come to think about it, we're still growing kids. Anything that fits you perfectly right now will be too small in no time. I picked out a similar breastplate in a slightly larger size and handed it to Eris. It's all loose on me. Nah, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Muttering complaints, Eris proceeded to pick out other bits of armors for various parts of her body. All the fighting we'd been doing lately had given her a sense of where she was most vulnerable to injury. It wasn't hard to find gear to protect her joints and vital organs. Posed more of a dilemma, or her head posed more of a dilemma though. An overly heavy helmet would only slow her down. Still, we didn't want to leave such an important part of her body totally undefended. How about something like this? I said, presenting her with a full face helmet that reminded me of one of the eviler Hokuto brothers. Not a chance, she said with a grimace. Kids these days, no appreciation for the classics. We went on to try all sorts of different helmets, but Eris rejected every single one of them on the grounds of heaviness, ugliness, smelliness, or making it too hard to see. Ultimately, she settled on a headband of sorts. It had iron plates sewn into it to offer some protection. Of course, the hood we purchased earlier was solely to hide her eye catching red hair. It was meaningless from a defensive perspective. I guess that's all of it. What do you think, Rudius? Do I look like an adventurer? With the cutlass like swords Rowan had given us fastened at her hip, Eris twirled to show off her new set of light armor. To be perfectly honest, it looked a bit like cosplay, especially since that breastplate didn't quite fit. Splendid, miss. Simply splendid. You're the very picture of a seasoned warrior. You think? Eris put her hands on her hips and looked down at herself with a satisfied grin, as she savored the moment. Haggled down the cost of her equipment to 1 iron coin. Not a minor purchase by any means, but we were buying a full set of armor here. Okay, Rudius, you're up next. I don't think I really need anything, do I? Of course you do. You're a magician, so you have to have a robe. I got the impression Eris had a certain fondness for stories where heroic young warriors set off on an adventure with a magic-using childhood friend at their side. There were nights when the girl barely got any sleep, but she was certainly spunky during the daylight hours. Ah, well, I guess I'll play along. Hey, mister, do you have any robes that would fit me? The elderly owner of the armor shop walked over silently, opened up one of his wardrobes. Here, these were made for halflings. Inside, there was a wide variety of colored robes, all with slightly different designs. They seemed to come in 5 hues: red, yellow, blue, green, and gray. None were particularly vivid. Does the color make some sort of difference? The colored ones have monster hair woven into the fabric. Gives you a bit of protection against a specific element. Okay, so red would be fire, yellow must be earth. Uh, what are the gray ones? Just plain fabric. Ah, no wonder they were basically half price. The cost of the other colors varied slightly as well. It probably had something to do with the materials they used to make them. So I guess you want a blue one, Rudius. Said Eris. I wonder. In close range combat, I'd been known to use explosive blasts to send myself flying through the air. Maybe red or green would be best? Stop or go. What types of spells do you know, boy? I can use all disciplines of attack magic. Well, ain't that something? And here I thought you were just some kid. Okay, this one might cost you a bit more, but after rooting through the robes for a moment, the man pulled out one that was notably darker shade of gray. That's genuine Mackie rat hide right there. Mackie Mouse? I said rat, kid, not mouse. The image of a friendly fellow in bright red shorts floated briefly through my mind. I shook my head violently until it disappeared. The robe felt more like cloth than the hide of an animal, but that was probably just the nature of the material. So, what advantages does this one offer? It doesn't offer any special protection against magic, but it's tough as hell. I slipped it on just to see how it felt. It's a little baggy on me. Aren't there any smaller ones? That's the smallest one I've got. They must make some for kids, right? Why would they? Now I knew how that little judo guy must have felt when he tried to put on a normal suit for the first time. Ah, well, I was still a growing boy, so maybe this was all right. The thing did seem to be made of quality material, at least. Judging from the feel, it probably provides some protection against stabbing weapons. I somewhat liked that it was made from a gray skinned rodent, too. Fit nicely with my last name. Okay, maybe I'll go with this one. You like that, huh? It's 8 scrapped iron coins. Well, let's see. After haggling with the old man to the best of my ability, I ended up buying the robe for 6 scrap irons. While we were at it, I also picked up 2 other headbands like Eris's, but in different colors. These ones were for Regard and myself. We could use one to hide that eye in his forehead if we ever felt the need to. Why did I need one, you might ask? Well, it's no fun being the odd man out, you know? Incidentally, I'd asked Reger to spy on Visquella while Eris and I went out on a shopping trip. I wasn't expecting much out of her and Jalil, but depending on how they behaved, there was a possibility our reputation could be badly damaged. It seemed prudent to at least check in on them. When I explained this to Reger, however, he'd retorted that I never should have joined forces with them in the first place if I was that worried about their character. Definitely a fair point. But on the other hand, our arrangement with them had produced some major financial benefits. For the moment, a bit of paranoia felt like a small price to pay. Long story short, our pet napper friends were performing their duties admirably. They approached even F-rank jobs with a positive attitude and surprising diligence. Today, Visquel had worked an insect extermination job. Her objective was to eradicate an infestation of loathsome critters that occupied someone's kitchen. Visquel happened to be a member of the Sumeba race, whose saliva was poisonous, but also highly enticing to all sorts of bugs. Any insect that ingested it would either die or be rendered totally immobile, providing the Zumeba with a tasty snack. In other words, this squirrel was born to do this type of work. The client was an elderly woman, apparently a stubborn, cranky sort who never seemed to stop frowning. Reacher's impression was that she wouldn't hesitate to chase off anyone who displeased her, even in the slightest of ways. It didn't come to that, of course. Miss Squell got to work at once and efficiently annihilated the insects. Reacher confirmed after the fact that there wasn't a single insect alive in the old woman's house. Miss Squell even stopped up a few gaps with some sort of thread-like substance as a preventative measure against invasion from the outside. Thank you, Visquel. Those things were driving me crazy. Uh, Thank you, Visquel. Those things were driving me crazy. No problem. If you ever need anything, just remember the name Dead End Regard, okay? Dead End Regard? Is that the name of your new party? Yeah, more or less. After dutifully advertising our brand, Visquel handed the old lady a few extra pieces of bait made from her saliva, then politely took her leave. With her job complete, she promptly met up with us at the guild to take care of the reward swapping. Sounds like she's doing good work out there, huh? Yes. I certainly hadn't expected that level of perfection. Not only was Visquel already acquainted with the client, she had gone above and beyond on the customer service. It probably left a much better impression than my ad-lib door-to-door salesman act would have. I guess they're not rotten to the core after all, Regard. Perhaps not. To be fair, I'd been a bit suspicious of them as well, but I guess we weren't asking that much. They were basically just doing ordinary jobs and mentioning dead end at the very end. We got them thinking that cooperating with us meant easy money for them. That was all for the best. It'd make them less likely to betray us, too. However, the fact remains that they committed many evil deeds. Yeah, you're right, but right now they're out there putting in an honest day's work, just like you, Regard. Hmm. Being a criminal doesn't mean you're irredeemable. That applied to them as much as it to Regard and myself. Seemed like a good sign that they'd stop abducting pets even though we hadn't outright told them to. That said, we were only 3 days into this partnership. The memory of their brush with death was still fresh in their minds. Of course, they may only be playing along for the moment. We should keep checking in on them like this whenever anything changes. Regard furrowed his brow at that. You joined forces with these people. Do you not trust them at all? Of course not. The only people I trust in this whole city are you and Eris, Regard. I see. He started reaching out for my head, but stopped short. I did trust Regard, but it felt like I was starting to lose his trust. I could live with that, though. My goal is to make it back to the Kingdom of Asura with Eris. I'd do my best to improve the Spared's race reputation while I was at it, but earning Regard's respect wasn't on my list of critical objectives. Well then, why don't we head back? We set off back towards our inn, toward our inn through streets lit only by illuminator stones. All things considered, our adventuring career was off to a smooth start. Chapter 12: Children and Warriors. 3 weeks later, our party hit rank D. It felt like we were moving up pretty fast, so I finally got around to checking out the specific promotion criteria. For an F rank adventurer to reach rank E, they needed to successfully complete 10 F rank jobs, or 5 E rank jobs in a row. For an E rank adventurer to reach rank D, it took 50 F rank jobs, 25 E rank jobs, or 10 D rank jobs in a row. The general pattern stayed the same for the higher ranks, although the numbers started getting considerably bigger. Demotion was also a possibility for those who messed up repeatedly. Failing 5 consecutive jobs with a rank lower than your own, or 10 consecutive jobs at your present rank would knock you down a peg. You couldn't be demoted by failing tasks at a higher rank than your own, but after 5 in a row, you'd lose the privilege to accept them. Jalil and Visquel had been working diligently to knock out F and E rank jobs for us every single day, so we'd managed to get this far in no time at all. Now that we were D ranked, we finally had access to more profitable C rank tasks. Those were easy pickings for our parties, so we'd probably pull ourselves up to rank C soon enough. This might be the right time to cut off our arrangement with Jalil and Visquel. They didn't seem to be abducting pets anymore, but I wasn't entirely sure what problems the whole job swapping thing might cause in the long run. We'd save up a decent amount of cash at this point, so we had the option of saying our goodbyes to our business partners and leaving Rikarisu behind for good. After a bit of thought, though, I decided to keep milking them until we made it up to rank C. There didn't seem to be any issues at that moment, but it was hard to turn my back on such low-stress money-making system. It wouldn't hurt to have more money in our wallet before we left. At present, our savings amounted to 1 green ore coin, 6 iron coins, 14 scrap iron coins, and 35 stone coins, or 1,875 stone coins in general. So 1,875 yen, basically. Our entire assets amounted to less than the value of 2 Austrian large copper coins. Okay, cut it out. It doesn't matter what this would buy us on a different continent. Once we hit rank C, we'd say goodbye to Jalil and Visquel and then promptly leave the city. Seemed like a solid plan to me. Not long after reaching this conclusion, I spotted an interesting task on the guild board. B. Task. Locate and defeat unknown monsters. Reward. 5 scrap iron coins. 2 iron coins if defeated. Find and destroy a specific monster. Location. Southern Wood. Petrified Forest. Duration. Before the end of the month. Deadline. ASAP. Client. Valbarrel the merchant. Notes. A large slithering creature was spotted deep inside the forest. Please identify it and destroy it if it is dangerous. Jill and I pondered the piece of paper with our hands on our chins. Mystery monster, huh? Talk about a vague job description. There was a chance this thing wasn't even there, and even if it were, how exactly were we supposed to prove that it was one monster or another? Still, 2 iron coins was a very tempting reward, especially since we could get 5 scrap iron coins if we chose not to fight the thing. You interested in this one? Well, the pay's really good. It does feel kind of fishy, though. Jalil nodded in agreement. Oh, sorry, it's both. Looks like the type of kind of job where you might get stiffed. I'd think twice if I were you. We'd already experienced something of the sort. 2 weeks earlier, we accepted an ordinary-looking collection task for the acid wolves. As usual, we hunted them down or hunted down to the specified number of monsters and brought back their fangs and tails, only to be informed that the client wanted complete acid wolves, as in their entire bodies. The description hadn't clarified this at all, but we still ended up having to pay a breach of contract fee. Just thinking about it made me feel intensely frustrated. It was probably smarter not to take this job if I wanted to avoid a repeat of that disaster. But I couldn't tear my eyes away from that juicy reward line. 2 iron coins, though. Maybe I could use another learning experience. Heh, just don't blame me if you get burned again. For a task like this, breach of contract penalty would be based on the 5 scrap iron coins, right? Yep, that's right. The extra money if you kill the thing is just a bonus, basically. As Reger tended to get harassed by Nokopara when he entered the guild, and Eris sometimes had problems with random adventurers approaching her as well, I had the two of them waiting outside. Visquel never showed up at the guild either. In other words, there was no one here to stop me. Well, even if this mystery monster isn't there, there's plenty of stuff worth selling in the Petrified Forest. Knowing you three, I bet you could earn enough to cover the breach of contract fee. Guess it might be worth a shot. All right, then. Good luck with your jobs. Or good luck with your jobs too, Jalil. In respect, I realized just how lazy my thinking was at this point. A few weeks of battle experience had left me overconfident. Things had gone so smoothly that I'd underestimated the risks. My impatience pushed me towards a big payday. With the benefit of hindsight, there were better choices open to me, but at the time, I don't think I could have made them. Petrified Forest was a full day's journey from the Rikarisu. It was a place where bone-like trees with jagged branches grew in enormous numbers and derived its name from their stony appearance. The forest stood alongside the main road in that region. Cutting through it offered travelers a shorter route to the next city. But since the wood was home to the dangerous B-rank monsters, executioners, and almond anacondas, only merchants in a big hurry ever did so, and they always hired multiple skilled bodyguards beforehand. Forests in this world were, without exception, dangerous places, but those found on the demon continent were particularly perilous. Three parties had run into each other just outside this particular wood. The B rank party Super Blazers, the D rank party Tokurabu Village Toughs, and finally D rank party Dead End. The leaders of these groups came together for a meeting. When adventurer parties bumped into each other in places like this, it was expected they'd stop to have a quick discussion. It would have been nice to skip it, but running into the other groups in the forest itself might be a real nuisance. I decided to make an appearance. Okay, so what the hell are you kids doing here? The first one to speak was Blaze, the leader of the Super Blazers. There was an undisguised irritation in his voice. The guy's face was familiar. He was the pig man who had laughed at us on our first day. I'm not trying to be insulting, by the way. He literally had the head of a pig. Presumably, he belonged to the same race as the gate guard who leered at Eris. Couldn't quite remember what they were called. I usually just thought of them as orcs, to be honest. In any case, Pigman's party was a group of 6 adventurers from a wide variety of races. To be C ranked or higher on the demon continent, you basically needed to be capable of taking down the more common monsters in the region. I had to assume they were all veterans who proved their skill in battle. We're here for the guild job, said Kurt, leader of the Tokurabu Toughs, his face somewhat sullen. Same here, said the leader of Dead End, that being me, with a small nod. Blaze reacted to the words of his D-ranked colleagues by clicking his tongue and scratching irritably at his neck. Ugh, they booked us, huh? Yeah, I had a bad feeling about this one. What does booked mean? Kurt asked hesitantly. Shut it, kid. This pig apparently had a short temper. Now, I said, sidling up to him with an obsequious smile. Let's all take a few deep breaths, okay? We're sorry for being such clueless newbies, but we'd very much appreciate any explanation you could provide. Blast spat on the ground, then grudgingly replied, it means the same request got placed by more than one person, and the guild put both jobs up there without noticing. Ah, right, a double booking. In this case, we had 3 separate clients who had posted 3 separate tasks. The guild must have thought they were distinct jobs, but maybe that wasn't actually the case. It seemed like something that might happen every now and then. Out of curiosity, I asked the others what their specific tasks were. Blaze was here to slay the white fang cobras that appeared in the petrified forest. Kurt was tasked to
I love that. I love that voice you're doing. It's so good.
pig. Yeah.
They were here to slay the what? This is how you jumped right into it so quickly. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, by
Thanks.
the way, just a big update. Just a big update to everybody. If you didn't
Yeah.
hear what happened to Jack Doherty, it's just really, it's karma. But funny karma. Yeah.
Karma.
But yeah, he has permabanned on Twitch, and he's been begging to, or not Twitch, but Kick, which is even scarier. And yeah, he's been begging to get his shit back, and it's not happening. Yeah.
Well,
So
well,
just saying, couldn't have happened to a more deserving douchebag. Yeah. All right. There's my whole thing. There's my. If you don't know who this guy is, just look him up right now. You'll find out. Like, it's not just what he most recently did. There's been other shit, and it's just like, yeah.
so I just kind of caught up.
Even Kick has had enough. Also, I just
Jesus.
recently found out another person who's permabanned that we all know and love to make fun of. Johnny Somali. He is permabanned
Who dat?
on Kick.
Actually, I have no idea who that is.
That's okay. That's actually okay.
I guess I don't need to.
Well, I mean, if you look him up, you'll be horribly offended, just in general,
Okay.
about how he treats people in general. But like what all he did in Japan, that'd piss you off.
Jesus.
Ah,
Oh.
that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy.
He's
He's been permabanned. He's permabanned on both Twitch and Kick, and yeah, nobody will take him, and it's so fun. And I think the same thing's gonna be with Jack Doherty, because what this dude just did and his attitude afterwards. Oh my god. Yeah, couldn't have happened to a more deserving person. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha.
I'm reveling in this joyous set of consequences when people make stupid decisions and they win stupid prizes. You know?
I mean, that's how it goes. Play
Yeah.
stupid games, win stupid prizes. So,
Exactly.
You fuck around, you
Yep.
find out.
yep.
It's so true. But yeah, guys, we're probably gonna end this at the end of this chapter. Just
Okay.
trying to make sure that we don't go too far over, but
Gotcha.
you're making a lot of headway, my dude. So keep it going.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like reading, so
I can tell.
yeah.
We're 70% of the way through, and
Yeah.
now I'm gonna check where.
Kurt was. Should I continue?
We're 13 pages. Nope, not 13.
Oh
Hang on.
shit. Okay.
Yeah, 13.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it. Okay. The percentages were 69% of the way through on Kindle. Nice.
You were 70 on my side. So by the time you get to chapter 13, you'll be 77% of the way through.
Sick. That's a passing grade.
Okay, so we're
Kurt.
okay, still I wonder. So you're looking at we're at the double booked. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Yep.
Page 235 is where we're currently at on Kindle. That's what I'm
Yep.
saying. 70% of the way.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Continue. Kurt was tasked to collect the mysterious eggs spotted in the petrified forest, and I, of course, was trying to locate an unknown monster. Huh? You're on a search and locate job. Do they even have those at rank D? Naturally, I worked out an answer to Kurt's question beforehand. It's a C rank task, actually. They put it up there after you left the guild. No kidding. Man, I wished we'd gotten that one instead. As the kid muttered to himself, I took a moment to think about the situation we were in. It did feel like there was at least some potential overlap between all three of our tasks. First of all, White Fang Cobras weren't native to this forest, but judging from Blaze's job, at least one had recently been spotted here. That could very well be our unknown monster, and it might also be responsible for the mystery eggs Kurt was after. But of course, there was also the possibility that our mysteries were completely unrelated to the Cobras. It was a little hasty to assume we'd been triple booked. Still, I wondered how this happened. How should I know, kid? It just works out that way sometimes. Well, I guess it would. It's not like that guild has all their task file neatly in a computer or anything. All right, then. What are we going to do about it? Nothing. Whoever finds monsters first wins. What? Shouted Kurt. So what happens to our task if you get there first? Huh? Oh, your eggs or whatever? I mean, we'll smash them when we can see them. Can't have white fang cobras hatching all over the place, can we? Blaze said with a smirk. Come on, Rudius, say something. If they kill all the monsters, we'll both fail our jobs. Kurt was turning to me for support. He did have a point. Blaze's party happened to kill our unknown monster. We wouldn't get the chance to track it down or fight it. Wait a second. We basically just need to locate and identify it, right? I felt like reporting that the White Fang Cobras had been here might be enough to satisfy our client. And to hedge our bets, we could always hunt down some random monsters here before we left. A big enough loot haul ought to cover the 20% breach of contract fee. Well, we don't know for sure that this was a triple booking. There might be something other than the White Fang Cobras here as well. Blaze grimaced. So, you want to look around together, is that it? You expect us to be your babysitters? Who the hell wants your help anyway? Said Kurt, his face flushed with anger. Oh, please. You're obviously hoping we'll protect you, right? This forest is pretty damn tough for a bunch of D-rankers. Ah, now I get why he's so cranky. Blaze didn't like the idea of a pair of low-ranked groups following his party around like a string of poop trailing after a glowfish. Perfectly understandable. It would only make their lives harder after all. Of course, I didn't want to travel with them either. It wasn't a good idea to let anyone see Rager fighting with a spear. They might realize he really was a spurred, but when they saw how strong he was. Fortunately, Kurt had already given me an easy out here. Okay, I've heard enough of this. Dead End doesn't need babysitters either, thank you very much. We'll be working on our own. I promptly turned and left the leaders' conference without waiting for a response to my declaration. My party had been waiting for me a little distance away. So, what's going on? Asked Eris, her voice betraying some impatience. Looks like we're all here to do the same job, more or less. Oh, what happens now? Does somebody back down? No, of course not. We'll all go for it and see who finds the monsters first. Oh yeah? Sounds like a decent challenge. Well, she certainly seemed enthusiastic, at least. I felt like Eris had been getting sick of our monster or hunting missions lately. Those jobs weren't exactly adventures, after all, more like manual labor. This probably seemed like a nice change of pace. As the three of us were speaking, Blaze and Kurt brought the little leaders' meeting to a close. Kurt said a few words to his two companions, and they all set off into the forest together. The Super Blazers headed in as well, moving in a different direction. So, what's the plan? Asked Eris. Let's see, I said. Regard can search the areas for enemies as always. We'll just move around and investigate until we single out this mystery monster. Seemed like a simple enough proposal to me, but Regent shook his head gravely. Hold on, Rudius. What's the matter? I'm worried about those 3 children. What children? Oh, he means the Tokurabu toughs. They're not strong enough to survive in this forest, or they're not strong enough to survive in this forest. So what you're saying is we should help them. I really shouldn't have been too surprised or been surprised. Well, Richard, if we stick too close to them, there's a chance they'll realize you really are spurred. I don't care. Yeah, well, I do. Okay, but it's going to cause us all kinds of problems if people realize who you are. Well, then, are you telling me to stand back and let them die? That's not what I'm saying. Look, let's just follow them from a distance and help them out if they get in trouble. I couldn't hope to talk them out of this one. We just have to adjust our objectives. Those 2 iron coins probably weren't going to happen, but we could earn ourselves some serious gratitude at least. Still, was it really a good idea to thoughtlessly jump to the rescue here? If we had to protect those kids from a monster attack, the odds of them realizing Reader's true identity got that much higher. I didn't want to believe they clinged to their prejudices about a man who just saved their lives, but Dead End had a special place in the minds of people on this continent. It was hard to know how things might play out. If worse come to worse, maybe we could intimidate them into joining up with us like we did with Jalil and Visquel. For now, our party set off after Kurt and his friends. As we watched the Tokurabu village toughs stride boldly along the depths of the petrified forest, Richard furrowed his brow. What's the matter? I said. Is this the first time they've set foot inside a forest? I can't say that I know. Why do you ask? They're being far too careless. Sure enough, Kurt and his friends soon found themselves face to face with an executioner whose approach they evidently hadn't noticed. The executioner was a type of humanoid monster, the zombified remains of someone who had been an adventurer in life. For some reason, they were equipped with enormous swords and suits of thick plate armor. The sheer weight of their equipment meant they couldn't move too quickly, but they were extremely sturdy and wielded their weapon with surprising finesse. And you usually encountered one executioner at a time, and they weren't unusually large, and yet they were still B rank monsters. This was proof enough of their sheer power. Just to add insult to injury, their equipment dissolved into thin air when they died, so you couldn't get much profit after beating one, or profit out of beating one. They need our help. No, not yet, I said just as Regard was tensing to leap forward. Why not? They're not backed into a corner yet. The executioner was swifter than you expect from its appearance, but it wasn't fast enough to keep up with these kids when they were running for their lives. Little by little, they were gaining some distance from their pursuer. But then, just as it seemed like they were going to give it the slip, their luck ran out. A group of almond anacondas was waiting for them in the direction they'd been fleeing. These snake-like monsters traveled in groups of 3 to 5. They took their names from the distinctive almond-like pattern on their bodies, which were typically about 3 meters long. Their fangs were full of deadly venom, and they moved with great agility. Due to their toughness and their tendency to attack in numbers, they were also classified as B-rank monsters. Kurt and company were trapped between the 2 best-known and most feared inhabitants of the petrified forest. I could see their expressions wavering between smiles of disbelief and outright terror. They probably assumed that if they ran into either of these notoriously dangerous animals or monsters, they could simply run away. And to be fair, it almost worked with the executioner. In the end, however, they hadn't sufficiently considered what might go wrong. This place was just too dangerous for them. They really should have recognized that and steered clear of it, now that I didn't sympathize with their eagerness to push themselves. We should go. Now. No, wait just a little longer. Once again, I held Richard back. We wanted to wait until they were really on the ropes. The worse things got before we showed up, the deeper their gratitude would be. I'll let those things knock them around so I can heal them with my magic afterward. Perfect. Ah! Shouted Eris. The bird-like boy flew through the air in 2 separate pieces. The bird-like boy flew through the air in 2 separate pieces. It had only taken 1 blow. He'd failed to sidestep the executioner's attack, and the monster's sword had cut him clean in half. My wicked smile froze on my face. I misread the situation completely. Those kids were in terrible danger from the very start. I was the one being thoughtless, not Regard. I told you! Shouted Regard, his voice full of frustration. As he and Eris jumped forward out of cover, I quickly fired off a stone cannon at the executioner. My attack struck home with enough force to obliterate the stone treant, but somehow the thing stayed on its feet. For a moment, I thought its armor was unbelievably strong, then I noticed its upper right arm was missing. I'd been so flustered that I misaimed my spell. Picking up its enormous sword with its left hand, the thing immediately began running in my direction. From a distance, it seemed fairly slow, but now that it was sprinting towards me, I realized that it was abnormally quick given its clumsy appearance. I stayed calm and created a patch of muddy bog directly in the executioner's path. One of its legs plunged into my trap, sending it toppling forward. I promptly summoned up an enormous rock immediately above the monster and set it slamming to the ground. By this point, Regard and Eris had already eliminated all the almond anacondas. In the aftermath of the battle, a trembling, pale-faced Kurt approached me to express his gratitude. Thanks, man. Seriously, you guys are Really strong, huh? The executioner lay squashed under a giant boulder. The almond anacondas had been neatly decapitated. No sweat, really. We'd win that fight every time. And yet, we'd failed to protect these kids. That's okay. I'm sorry we didn't get here sooner. Kurt was looking at me with something like admiration in his eyes, my chest aching with guilt. I looked away from his face. My eyes found the body of the beaked bird-like boy had been cut in half. What was his name again? Gablin? He wouldn't have died if I'd just kept things simple. Richard strode up and grabbed me by the front of my robe, his face twisted with anger. That was your fault, he said, gesturing at the corpse with his chin. His words stabbed ruthlessly at my heart. Yeah, you're right. We could have saved all three of them. Yes, I know. I didn't want it to turn out this way either, okay? I was bursting with shame and misery. This wasn't what I wanted. Not at all. I regretted my actions. I learned my lesson. So why did he have to keep rubbing my nose in it? Look, I'm trying my hardest, okay? I just wanted to get us the best possible outcome from that situation. Why do you have to be so tough on me? Because the boy died. Richard's retort was simple but painfully on target. Yeah, there really wasn't anything I could say. I may as well have killed the kid myself. Eris wasn't jumping to my defense this time either. She was staring at Gavlin's corpse, probably trying to process her own feelings about all this. There were no excuses left to offer. I'd failed completely. People's lives were on the line, and I'd held us back too long out of sheer self-interest. Hey, come on. Don't start fighting now. In the end, it was Kurt who stepped in and intercede. This doesn't concern you, snapped Richard. It's between me and him. Somewhat surprisingly, the boy didn't back down in the face of this dismissal. Yeah, but I can tell what happened. You guys saw us fighting and argued about whether to help us out, right? Nope, it wasn't even an argument. I left you out to try all by myself. I know you're all strong, but... Or, I know you're all strong, but there was still a risk something could have gone wrong, and you didn't have any reason to help us anyway. The anger in Richard's eyes blazed even hotter than before. No reason was necessary. Adults have a duty to protect children. We're not children, Kurt fired back. We're adventurers. Rudius made the call any leaders should have. Richards fell silent for a moment. I couldn't say I agreed with Kurt's assessment. Still, one of your friends died, boy. Yeah, I know. I'm not blind. The three of us wanted to stay together to the end. But you know what? We knew death was a possibility. Any adventurer's prepared to face that risk. Young or old. My chest throbbed painfully at those words. Personally, I wasn't remotely prepared to stare death in the face. I'd seen the whole adventure thing as nothing but easy means of earning money. I'm grateful that you stepped in to save us, but it was our job to keep ourselves safe. If anyone's to blame, it's me. I'm the one who took this task and got us in over our heads. Kurt's argument had the stubborn righteousness of a kid who didn't really understand the way the world worked. But it was also earnest and heartfelt. This sort of passion was something I'd been lacking lately. My obsession with earning money and climbing the guild ranks, I started looking at our task as nothing more than quests in some video game. I'm sorry, Kurt. Or sorry, Kurt, wasn't it? I was wrong to treat you as a child. It seems you are a warrior in your own right. Apparently something in the boy's tirade had struck home for Richard. He lowered me to the ground with a brief apology. Not that I deserved it this time. Don't apologize, please. None of this changes the fact that I made an awful mistake. No, that was no mistake. You're only trying to respect their pride as warriors. I was overly eager to intervene. Nothing of the sort even crossed my mind, actually. Sorry. I was too hasty with those criminals as well. I'll have to be more careful in the future. Richard seemed to have neatly wrapped up things for himself, but I didn't find his conclusions too convincing. I was going to give my mistakes today some serious thought later. I needed to identify exactly where I'd gone wrong and make sure this never happened again. Still, there was definitely a part of me that was thinking, nice, good thing you got the wrong idea. At least I got away with it. I wanted to smack myself in the face. Kurt and his friend told us they planned to carry their fallen comrade back to town. We escorted them back as far as the entrance to the forest. I'd expected Richard to insist we guard them all the way to Rikarisu, but he shook his head at this suggestion. He recognized Kurt and his friends as warriors. That changed things. They may not make it back safely with their party reduced in size, but they have resolved themselves to face that risk. Kurt had said as much, yes, but there was something deeply melancholic about his posture as he walked away from us. It was so obvious that Eris impulsively ran up to him and said, "Good luck out there!" She didn't speak in the language, of course, but Kurt clearly sensed the meaning of her words from the expression on her face. Thank you, he said. Is this how you do it? Huh? The boy took Eris's hand, leaned forward, and kissed it near the knuckle of her thumb. With one last bright smile, he turned and walked off once again. Eris had frozen up completely. I wasn't sure what to do either. Suddenly, she spun around to look at me and then began vigorously rubbing the top of her hand against the edge of her armor. No, no, you got it all wrong. Was that actual panic on her face? I mean, the kid did kiss her, but she had gloves on. Didn't seem like anything to get that worked up about. I I won't even use this anymore. Eris ripped off her glove and tossed it into the forest. What a waste of perfectly good leather. Regard and I scolded her simultaneously. Don't throw away your equipment. Those things cost money, you know? I really wish my mind hadn't gone straight to the money thing again. Oh, shut up, shouted Eris, stomping her feet against this ground with tears in her eyes. This was the first time in a while I'd seen her like this. Was I missing something? Did a kiss on the hand mean something specific around here, or what? Rudius, here! At this point, she pushed her hand in front of my face. I licked it reflexively. Eris's face went red at once. Approximately 1/2 second later, she punched me. This was a real punch, too. I barely stayed conscious. For a moment, I thought she snapped my neck. This girl just might be a world champ someday. I collapsed backward in a clumsy heap. I wonder what I was supposed to do there. As I looked up at her from the ground, Eris stared at the spot where I licked her, then briefly touched it with her tongue as well. Uh, it's
Rudy
Yeah.
is so lucky that she's a world class perv too.
yeah,
Yeah,
y'all
like,
both freaks.
y'all both freaks. Like you lick her hand, she punches you, and then she gets all embarrassed and like kind of
And
hot
she's
and
like,
bothered about you licking her. Bruh, you are so
Jesus.
fucking lucky, my dude.
Yeah, any other character would probably beat you to a pulp. Instantly flushing. Sorry, go ahead.
He should be so glad that this soon has a ditty.
That's true.
All right.
Instantly flushing bright red, she then scrubbed her hand forcefully against her clothes. Sorry about that, Rudius, but you can't lick me, all right? It was pretty adorable, so I forgave her on the spot. This hadn't been a good day overall, but I wasn't feeling quite as miserable anymore. As we made our way deeper into the forest, I found myself thinking about Regard. He was a man with an absolute moral code, and he loved children. Those were the fundamental facts I was working with till this moment. But that conversation earlier suggested that warrior was also something of a key word for him. Regard, what's your definition of a warrior? I asked. His response was instant. Warriors are those who protect children and fight for the sake of their comrades. That explains so much, actually. His outburst of anger made more sense now. Regard wasn't lashing out at random, he just expected warriors to conduct themselves with dignity. The most basic set of rules seemed to be something along these lines. A warrior must never harm a child. A warrior is obligated to protect children. A warrior must never forsake a comrade. A warrior is obligated to protect his comrades. Based on these, he'd positively identified that Pretnapper as a villain rather than a warrior the moment he kicked me. And when the other two pleaded for their lives instead of seeking to avenge their fallen comrade, he contemptuously placed them in the villain category as well. The thing with Kurt was somewhat similar. At first, he viewed those three as children, so when I sat back and allowed one of them to die, that made me a villain in his eyes. But then that sharp exchange of words with Kurt changed his perspective. He reclassified those three as warriors rather than children. That made my actions easy to forgive, if anything. He seemed more upset at himself for having failed to recognize them correctly from the start. It was a little hard to tell exactly where he drew the line between children and warriors, though. I got the sense he still considered Eris to be a child, but I wasn't sure where he placed me these days. Should I ask him, or would that be a mistake? There's a battle taking place up ahead, Regard renounced, interrupting my internal debate. Oh, is it the other party, the Super Blazers? That's right. Apparently that pigman had found himself some trouble. I wasn't sure exactly what sort of sight Regard's third eye offered him, but he could apparently use it from underneath the headband, and well enough to pick out one adventurer from another. Talk about convenient. I want one too. You think we should help them? I asked. That's not necessary, he replied. Well, they're B ranked adventurers after all. I guess he classified them as warriors from the start. We moved a bit deeper into the forest and came upon a single enormous snake coiled in the clearing. 4 corpses lay scattered around it. Huh? Um, these gentlemen appear to be dead. So that's what he meant by not necessary, huh? I didn't see Blaze's body among them, though. Had he managed to escape? It was a party of 6, right? Where'd the other 2 go? They're dead. A total wipe? Damn. Rest in pieces. Okay, so what is that thing? The snake that had killed Blaze in the company or in company was very, very large. A red hood cobra. Its body was so thick that Eris and I couldn't have wrapped our arms around it to fingertip to fingertip. It had to be 10 meters long, and its neck area was flatter and wider than the rest of its body. I could see 2 distinct bulges halfway down the monster's trunk. One of those was presumably a great big lump of pork. Weren't we looking for white cobras, though? I wouldn't have expected to find one in this forest, continued Regard, let alone such a huge specimen. They don't usually live here then? No, but one does spawn every once in a while. Red Hoods were apparently a more powerful variant of White Fang Cobra. Not only were they larger in size, they were also far more agile. Their scales were tough and resistant to fire magic. Their fangs were enormous and full of deadly venom. It wasn't clear what a White Fang had to eat to mutate in one of these, but on occasion you find one where they lived. White Fang Cobras were B rank monsters, but the Red Hood Cobra was an A rank, and for good reason. They could wipe out a typical B rank party in mere seconds. At the moment, this one was occupied with his current meal and didn't seem to have noticed us. It was just getting started on its third adventure of the day. "We can take this thing, right?" said Eris, confidently unsheathing her sword. "Shall we attack it?" Rager asked me. Is it okay for me to make the call? Who else would? I leave it in your hands. Apparently it was up to me. I took a moment to think about it, or think it through. Our task today was to discover, identify, and possibly defeat the unknown monster lurking in this forest. First of all, it seemed obvious that the monster in question was either this red hood cobra or the white fangs that were also spotted here. Neither was native to this forest. We'd probably get credit for completing the job if we headed back now and reported what we've seen. However, if we killed it, our reward might increase or would increase to 2 iron coins. It'd be nice to beat the thing if we could, but keeping ourselves alive was also kind of important. I'd just seen someone die right before my eyes. Failure would mean death. I didn't want us to put us in any unnecessary danger. As I hesitated with my decision, Regard broke the silence. I could defeat it by myself if you prefer. Could you really kill that thing on your own, Regard? Yes. I'm more than enough for this job. Wow, talk about a reassuring line. I'm sure the King of Fighters reference was unintentional. Can you take it on while also protecting Eris? Not a problem. We'll fight the same way we always do. Reacher didn't seem remotely intimidated. Even in the face of an A-ranked enemy, based on that alone, I felt like we'd probably be all right. Let's do it then. I would attack them with magic from a distance while Eris and Reacher fought the monster at close range, same as always. So I started things off the way I always did, the stone cannon. We were up against an A-ranked enemy this time, so I tweaked the spell slightly to increase its power. The projectile I created was a hollow, wedge-shaped rock, filled with concentrated fire magic that would cause it to explode on impact. I fired it off at supersonic speed, expecting to see it slam into the snake's side with an ear-splitting boom. What? But to my surprise, the red hood cobra twisted itself around and evaded my bullet. This wasn't just a coincidence. That thing had dodged the spell. It had spotted the projectile in the air and reacted quickly enough to evade it. The stone exploded harmlessly somewhere off in the distance. You got to be kidding me. Our preemptive attack had been a failure, but our special attack squad wasn't about to stop. Reacher charged forward in the end, or in the lead, with Eris trailing off to the side. This wasn't our usual formation. Up until now, Eris had mostly been the one out in front. Reacher led off with a typical thrust, stabbing at the snake's head with his trident. The red hood cobra swayed to avoid the attack, then tried biting him on the rebound. Its fangs were big enough to punch a gaping hole right through a man, but Reacher deflected them with a casual swipe of his spear. In the meantime, Eris had circled around to the rear of the cobra. She took a big swing at its tail with her sword. The blow struck home and didn't cut all the way through the snake, but didn't cut through all the way through the snake. Its scales, or perhaps its muscles, were clearly tough. Just as the Red Hood's attention turned to Eris, both she and Reacher jumped back to a safer distance. Without missing a beat, I fired off another spell at it. We'd worked out this sequence beforehand. It was pretty typical of our combat style as a party. What? Again? Unfortunately, the Red Hood Cobra dodged my spell a second time. I'd sharpened the tip of my stone projectile. I'm sorry, what?
I just want to point out how much your snake hiss sounds like a cat hiss, and it's great.
Oh.
I was
I
gonna
feel like I need
say,
to do
like,
more
oh,
animal
I
research.
appreciate the hisses, but
Yeah.
Well, it's like, yeah, like,
Yeah, it's more like
okay, that's right. Like, that's
Yeah.
right.
But
I have
it's
to do
good.
more animal research. It's like a clearly have to do more animal research or watch more Animal Planet.
Sure.
Yep. The Red Hood Cobra dodged my spell a second time. I sharpened the tip of my stone projectile to increase its speed, but to no avail. The bullet soared past the snake's flank and into the forest, knocking down a few trees as it went. Once again, the monster had reacted after spotting the projectile in midair. It wasn't the end of the world, though. I didn't really need to hit it. Our frontliners attacked in waves. Reacher persistently targeted its brain and vital organs. Eris started in to chop at its tail, keeping the thing distracted, and every now and then I fired off a potentially deadly spell. The pattern was a simple one, but it wasn't easy to deal with. The monster had focused attacks on Eris, it could potentially have broken through our lines, but Reacher was so masterful at drawing aggro that the Red Hood Cobra was forced to ignore both her and myself. Reacher and I weren't landing any hits, but over time the snake grew fatigued. Its movement began slowing, and in the end, one of my stone cannon spells finally struck home. By the time we finished processing the Red Hood Cobra's body, the sun had already set. We were having a snake meat feast for dinner tonight, naturally. I didn't know which specific parts of this thing were valuable, so we just ripped out its fangs, then stripped off its skin and rolled it up like a carpet. We found the eggs that Kurt's party had been looking for nearby, but they were so large it seemed impossible to carry them. I thought over our options for a while before deciding to smash the things. Deliberately allowing monsters to spawn was a no-no around here after all. As for Blaze and company, we relieved them of anything that looked valuable, then burned and buried their bodies. We just left them lying there. Would they have turned into executioners eventually? I didn't entirely understand this whole reviving as a zombie phenomenon, to be honest. Gotta say, though, that Red Snake was really something. I found myself thinking back on the battle we just fought, specifically about the way the Cobra had avoided my magic. It had dodged my spells, numerous times in fact, until that direct hit at the very end. I never really even grazed the thing. Come to think of it, the Executioner earlier today had probably done something similar. I targeted my first spell at its chest, but it only lost part of its it only lost part of one arm. Maybe I needed to assume that monsters ranked B or higher were capable of avoiding magic. That red snake was ranked A, of course. It actually avoided Regard's spear thrust too, but that was probably because he was holding back. If he really wanted to, I was sure he could have killed it instantly. Interesting that it never dodged Eris's sword, though. Maybe it felt it wasn't necessary, given how much less dangerous she was. In any case, this world really was chock full of terrifying threats. Even some humans could supposedly ward off magical attacks, and now I'd run into monsters that could dodge a midair bullet. At this rate, I had to assume S-ray monsters may be capable of shrugging off a stone cannon strike without a scratch. There's a scary thought. I gotta make a mental note to keep my distance from dangerous places. One way or another, we managed to complete our task. As it turned out, it would be the last one we ever finished in the city of Rikurisu. Oh, that was good. Chapter 13. We have made it. And now I have to go to pee real quick. Hold on. Be right back.
An ending is here.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, I am back. Sorry, I had to step into the kitchen for a second. Did we finish?
Well, yes, we did.
All right. Good stuff. All right. So it is time to compare what we read to the anime we watched. What did you guys think about the differences so far?
I actually don't remember this part of the anime. It's been too
You
long.
don't? It's because they kind of did everything almost in one episode.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
like 1 or 2 episodes. And
yeah,
was
it
quick.
definitely feels. It definitely in the anime it feels like it goes by a lot quicker, and in the light novel, it definitely takes its time.
But to be fair, the light novel is also like explaining a whole bunch of minute little things that the anime can just kind of show.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Hello?
Welcome back.
Hello. Thank you.
All right. So quick update.
Yes.
She is okay. They're on the road.
That's good.
She's about to
Okay.
take a nap, but yeah, I'm gonna keep
Okay.
you guys appraised of the situation. So those in the
Okay.
call don't go anywhere.
Mhm.
But what I was saying, and Moon and I were discussing, was the difference right now between what we covered in the light novel versus what we saw in the anime. And the parts that came across initially that were brought up were, it definitely felt like he didn't remember this particular part in the anime, and I said, well, that's probably because it was almost all, I think all of this was pretty much almost all condensed down into one episode. It wasn't a
Yeah.
lot. Now,
Yeah.
to be fair, I think the next part is going to be the part that actually you remember, but it is going to be slightly different from what happened in the anime. But basically, this part of the story coming up is when they get back to town, and the horse guy Nokopara tries to start some crap with him and everything, and then Regard's big secret is revealed, and Nokopara craps his pants, and Regard has to run out of town.
Yeah.
Also, I gotta say, every time I see the name Nokopara, I have to stop myself from saying Nekopara.
I
I
have
know,
the
it's
same
like
problem.
And then
really
singing the
close.
song, you get to the brain rot song. Yep, you're
Mhm.
teetering dangerously close there.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep, I had the same issue.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ugh.
I mean, if it was
The
like
thing
a
is, I
cat
haven't
beast
even
person.
played those yet. Keyword
Yet.
Yet.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, well,
I can
I
change
I was
that.
thinking
It's
watched. What do you mean
amazing
played?
cat
So-
Fenris.
so-
If you change that, I will love you even more.
So really quick thing, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
I need to make sure while we're talking about Moon and doing fun stuff that might involve video games. Um,
Oh.
Please give Moon's channel a follow. Moon, if you would just say hi in
Pretty
chat.
please.
Yes.
Okay.
Poster channel.
Mhm. He's only 11 followers away from his goal to
Oh.
get
What's your goal?
to hit affiliate.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Actually, I'm not. So now you're only 10.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like what, 4 away myself?
He's at and the other part of this goal is that if he hits 50, then by the time he gets to Leon's A campaign, he'll play that on hardcore difficulty.
Oh, okay.
Was it A or B?
Ooh.
It's A, not B. We're not doing
Okay.
the first Leon. You want to do side A. The reason I say that is because the Everyman run that I sent you is specifically for side A.
Oh, in novel, the story has gone all the way to the end. But we haven't gotten there yet. Obviously,
Mm.
Wait, what?
Gainer in the thing asked, "Did the story end in novel, or is it still going?" In some ways, it is still going because life continues on. There's more books about his children.
There's more. There's
Oh.
books about his kids. There's side stories about it. But basically, if you're talking about the main story, yeah, all 26
done.
volumes are done, and we're on volume
Yeah.
3. That's what we're reading right now. So
Yeah, and
I've
season
read-
2 covers what all the way to like what
12.
volume 6, 12.
no,
Okay,
no. Volume 6 is the first season.
we got a lot to go then.
Mm-hmm. We're almost halfway through season 1. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
There's a lot. There's a
Okay.
lot to cover, my dude.
yeah.
And then, so from that point, 1 through 6 is season 1, and then 7 through 12 is season 2.
Mm.
There's a lot that is covered in the anime, but there's also some stuff that's left out.
Yeah. Or condensed down.
Yeah,
'Cause
or
they need
condensed
to.
down. I mean, well, animation tends to be able to say and or rather show a lot of the telling that is done in a
Yeah.
novel. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that was the beautiful part about season 1 of Mushoku Tensei. They showed a lot. There was so much showing going on.
Mm.
It's not to say that there wasn't a lot of telling. There was plenty of telling, but there was definitely that whole look at what this world looks like, and also kind of a flex of look what we can do kind of thing.
Mm.
Look at how great we animate.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hats off to them. It was their first animated project for Studio Egg, I think. Was it Egg Firm or one of the studios? It was their very first one. And so, rightly so, show off, especially when you can pop off with animation that good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For all the people that were talking about the drop in animation quality for season 2, I kind of feel you for that first arc. I kind of feel you.
Mm.
But also at the same time, dude, when we got to Beggarit and the whole shit with Paul, that animation was insane.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
I just still can't believe they did my man dirty like that. Did him in on Father's Day.
Yeah. That was like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Like at first, I mean, like I knew that I didn't really like him at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he kind of was a dick and then got better.
Imagine how Fenris
then was
Moon and
kinda-
I felt. We had to talk about it on Father's Day.
It was like,
Mhm.
ouch.
Because if I remember right, wasn't Mushoku Tensei like a Sunday anime?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm.
All right. But
Shouldn't I?
season 3 is confirmed. It's going to be a while before we get it. Also, I just want to go ahead and say, shout out. I know exactly. And Moon, you're going to love and hate me for this. We have to find girls for the manhwa reading or the manga reading for the next one taking over when we finish Solo Leveling. But everybody who wants to flex their acting chops, you're gonna be happy for this. We're doing
What about you,
Oshinoko.
Kai?
Yeah.
Have you asked her about that?
Ooh.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, you can do that.
We
I don't know
absolutely
if
need
I don't
girls
know
for
if
that,
Yui
though.
would
There
be
is way too
awake
many
for that.
girls.
I don't necessarily know if Yui would be awake.
I mean, could you just send in lines?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
We
okay.
just
probably
have her
ask
like, all right, it's
Kyrie,
her
she would
line.
be
Play
down.
it.
I guess it would be kind of hard.
I'll
But I
reach
feel
out.
like, yeah.
I'll reach out to more of our
We'd
people,
have
but
to-
like, I whoever's gonna be I want her to just kill it, dude.
Oh,
Hmm.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I
Did
can
get
go
Lennon.
and reach out to some women if I know
Good.
any,
But
and they're
Because
interested in
it's
doing
not
this.
as yelly, especially not I.
well, it's not just that. It's not just that. It's also the fact that like we haven't talked in a minute, and it's not for any other reason. It's just we're bad at communicating, and I'm like, oh hey guys, it's like she wanted to be involved in solo leveling, and then I haven't heard back
And
in
then
a
things
minute.
Yeah, that
happened.
stuff happened.
Mm-hmm.
We had a
But-
bunch of people at the start of that, which is a damn shame.
Yeah,
Mm.
it really is. You have
Mm.
plans, you have ideals, and they don't always work out, but that's okay.
Shit
Yeah.
happens.
Also, I would like to get a group of us together doing more fun video games and stuff coming up soon.
Mm.
Whether here on Fat Dorg, wow.
Dorg.
Whether
Dorg.
here on Fat Dog or on our own channels. But yeah, I want to game with you guys some more. It's fun.
Mm.
I actually am working on a modded game night with
Mm.
Lethal Company
Mm.
in another server. That's kind of the reason why I was debating if I if I had to skip this session, because that's going to be this Saturday.
Mm.
Granted, for a different server, but if that one works out well,
Also-
that could be a thing later.
Also, another thing that you might want to know.
Like with everyone.
I don't know if they're going to be in the guild hall necessarily.
Mm.
There may be some guild hall stuff. Actually, I don't think they go in the guild hall. Dang it. But there should be some guild hall related stuff when we get to next week. So it will definitely be your time. And hey, Moon,
Hmm.
you'll be reading on the new setup next week. Now that
What do
you've
you
got
mean?
all, now that you've got your new gear, the new internals of your computer, along with your better internet. So you'll
Was
be-
it causing problems last
No,
time?
I don't think so. But like, it will be
The
your
Well,
first
the
time.
internet
was-
was, I think.
But your first time. This will be your first time reading on your new setup.
Cool.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's all I was saying. I wasn't saying there was anything
Oh.
wrong. I was just like, oh hey, celebration thing, new setup, good stuff.
Damn, Richie, what you got? What you got problem with this setup now? Well, fuck.
Are you kidding? My old setup was kind of trash. That was for the
No, I
internet.
meant the new
and even
one.
without the
I don't
internet,
have a problem with
it
his
wasn't
new
that
setup.
great.
I have a problem with his old setup.
His old setup was trash.
It was. He'll admit it.
It was.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
We can say it now because it's past tense.
Mm.
It's not as personal.
No, we were saying it then too, and we said it to his face. We're polite
Damn, you
friends.
got me
We'll tell
both
you
of
to
them.
your face. Do what?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Nothing. I just have a couple new games.
It's
okay.
like, all right, let me throw you a 3600 processor real quick. Here you go.
Oh no.
Just directly at the face, just block.
Yeah, literally at the face. You clearly need it, buddy. I got
He
my
did.
30
He did
I'm
get a
actually
new
debating if I-
processor, motherboard.
I did.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
yeah.
RAM.
And RAM.
The whole thing.
I'm still debating if I actually want to get like the 50 series one. Like it's on sale right now, but like I got my
Now that
friend
you got-
actually just literally dropped me off like a 3700.
Now
Like,
that you've
man,
got
do I
RAM,
wanna
we'll
replace
have to
that?
get you a U.
RAM.
Oh.
Oh,
Or a rim.
Oh.
That's not my
download
job.
more RAM.
Oh, RAM and RIM. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Instead of
Richie, you
downloading
took
more
that
RAM, it's downloading more
in
RAM.
a different direction. So
I'm glad
I
you
know.
caught that. I'm glad you caught that. You're just as dirty-minded as I am. Thank you.
Of course I was.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you said it, I'm sitting there like, yeah, I would have said the same.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I could have some RIM. I was like, that's not my job.
Mm.
All right.
You can't just get that for free.
Right. All right.
My job costs extra.
But yeah, ladies and gentlemen,
That's a congregation.
if you haven't noticed, for those of you who are like friends of mine on Discord, playing last week definitely got the itch. I got to show some of these guys around, though I would like them to hop in and claim a room or two at some very, very soon.
I need to finish decorating mine.
Oh, so about that. Yeah, I'll just have to have you hop in.
Stay, you imperfect speakers. Tell me more. By Sinel's death, I know I am Thane of Glamis, but how of Cador? The Thane of Cador lives, a prosperous gentleman, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief. No more than to be Cador. Stay from whence? You owe this strange intelligence, say from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why, upon this blasted heath, you stop your way, with such prophetic greeting.
Where
Speak,
did all
I
this
charge
come
you.
from? You just,
Shit.
I thought I blanked and he just started going.
It's
I'm
like,
like,
the
did I miss
fuck is
something?
going
No,
on,
I wasn't gonna let you
Suckley?
stop.
I
That's pretty
thought
cool.
I thought I turned off my
Nope,
microphone.
we heard all of that.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
So did
Oh, okay.
Stream. Hey, so did
Aye.
Stream.
Everyone heard it.
Well, I was going to
Everyone
record a
heard
special
it.
something for someone who kind of requested it. It's not
Oh.
in stream,
Oh,
but
you-
still.
Oh, your mother been telling you stories about me again,
Oh, fuck off, eh?
eh?
Look, someone asked for a Scottish Macbeth, and I'm gonna give him a bit of a Scottish Macbeth.
Oh yeah, you right.
See, I was thinking you were going more for Shrek, but then I couldn't tell if you were going into Father Anderson.
No, stop.
Oh, dear God.
Stop.
Fuck you.
Stop. All
Shrek
right,
is a very particular voice.
guys,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need 5 minutes of your time
Oh,
after
hello
the show,
there.
but
Yeah.
thank you guys so much. Any other stuff we want to plug besides Moon stuff? Oh, Fun Friday is gonna be Spooky Friday. So I think we're gonna do Phasmo this week. That or Demonologist. I have
Ooh.
not yet played Demonologist.
Oh, I don't have
haven't
that,
either.
or
I
haven't
have the
played it either.
demo,
I haven't
but-
seen nothing with that, but I've heard it's like Phasmophobia. You told me
It's-
that
yeah,
actually.
but I'm down to play some Phasmo, especially if the update comes in this week. I don't know if it's going to, but like the Halloween update's supposed to come in soon, and that's going to introduce consoles.
Whoa.
So the console
can-
update, huh?
Can we do Phasmo next week so I can actually be here for it?
No.
Damn.
I mean, look, you're going off and doing your things. We have to keep living our lives.
I'm going off to a place that is probably going to get hit by a hurricane one down there.
Why are you going down there?
Because I spent $3,000 on hotel and airfare.
You can't
Good
get any of
lord.
that back?
Oh.
Did you lease?
Non-refundable.
Oh no.
Did you
Oh,
lease it
that's
first
right.
class?
No, wait. It's wedding stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, we understand. We understand. Absolutely. You act like this is the only time we're going to play Phasmo. Listen here, fucker.
You know how long it's been?
Mm-hmm.
Just I honestly don't anymore.
Yes, I do.
I've
yes,
lost
I do.
I've lost track of time.
That's all good. Yeah, I do that a lot. We
Like,
will play Dude,
I'm-
it's spooky. It's spooky month. We will play Phasmo with you. Trust me.
Dude,
Mm.
until
I promise.
yesterday, I thought we were still in August.
We're in October.
Oh God.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
I
saying
have
that wrong.
lost
I'm saying that
so
wrong. No,
much
no, no.
time.
We're in
Spooktober.
October. We're in October right now.
September.
October. And it's
Ah.
so sad that you're missing out on this this week's anime church, because we're gonna have to talk about the new Twitch VTuber rules.
I know.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah.
I might still be able to join because I am bringing my laptop. with
Not
me.
to mention Halo Studios. We got to talk about that now that Halo's on Unreal.
Oh, did you see the article I sent you earlier?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not talking
Yeah.
about fan stuff that's happening in Infinite. Like that's not gonna get covered. I mean, we'll play it and like we may review it, but like I'm definitely.
Oh
not,
no, I wasn't. I
Yeah.
wasn't intending it to talk about the article. I was just like excited.
Oh, you were just
for it.
excited. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Also, we'll do some Helldiver stuff. Yeah. So Phasmophobia tomorrow, Fenris. That's what Revan says.
Mm.
I can't tomorrow.
See, there you
I have
go.
to finish
Yep.
packing. Because I take off at 3 a.m. on Thursday.
Oh fuck.
All right. So, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Anybody else got anything they want to plug?
Nope, not at
Follow
all.
Moon,
Follow
stream
me
to
on my
affiliate.
Twitch channel.
Shim,
Not
do
yet.
you stream?
Not yet.
All
He
right.
doesn't.
Not yet.
Guys,
I'm thinking about it, though.
guys,
Mm.
guys. We
gotta
have
get
to
Shim to
start.
stream.
We have to start raising Christmas money. We gotta get Shim the gift of a tower,
You mean like a PC case tower?
like a PC tower, like with good stuff in
Okay.
it, not an empty tower.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
I just recently got a
So-
PC, so
We
Oh,
need to
you
start
recently got a
raising at least
PC?
$2,000. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, seriously?
I got a massive upgrade recently, so
Okay, what do you? What
I'm
do-
trying
all
to
right.
tweak around with them.
We
so.
will.
Oh,
we will
yeah, I
talk.
remember
We
you
will talk
talked about
more
that.
about this. We will talk more about this. But
Yeah.
for now, I think we should. I think we should raid. We should raid.
If anything, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Where are we
upgraded.
going? Yui
We
Kai?
could raid Yui.
That's what
Does
I'm
she
thinking
stream?
about
Yeah, she is
doing.
live.
Yeah, I know she's. I know she's live, guys.
Whoa.
But honestly,
You could also raid Taka.
I'm aware
Oh.
that we can also do that.
But why would we do that?
Oh.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna raid another.
Sorry, I found something.
VTuber
Yes.
who is one of us. We have so many VTubers that we're
Oh,
trying to
that's
keep
right.
track of. We're gonna
So
raid
many.
Leaf. We're gonna raid Leaf, the lovely Leaf.
Mhm.
Aw, I've been
Hey.
seeing her for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She. For those of you who are unfamiliar,
Remake memories.
she is our. She is our one of our voice actresses. And she voices Kumoko in our Spider Abridged. So we're gonna raid
Whoa,
Leaf
okay.
tonight. So
Cool.
as
Still
per
need to watch
usual,
that.
you guys know the raid that we're doing, right? Book club raid.
Yeah.
All right.
Book Club Bird.
Book club raid. This sounds so stupid. Like we're so broing out on this. All right, guys.
I mean, it's a sausage fest in here. What can I say?
no sausage.
I pulled a
fest.
moon. I feel dirty.
Why? Because your mind went dirty. All right, guys. Thank you so
I know,
much.
because I feel like that's something Moon would say.
It
Sorry, go ahead.
is maybe potentially. I mean, but with gusto. But with gusto.
Absolutely.
All right,
Oh.
guys. Thank you so
Don't
much.
forget to
We'll see you
subscribe.
next time. Don't forget to show Leaf your a little bit of love or a lot of love. It's up to you. But show Leaf some love,
Oh, yeah.
and let's go say hey with a book club raid. Bye
I
bye,
believe in a thing called
Bye.
love.
Bye.
Bye.
Jedi.
Starfighter?
Potentially.